This video I'm going to talk about attaching fish to a piece of driftwood. This is a method that I use for mostly my smaller fish. It works really good for fish up to about like 20 inches. I'll use a 3/16 rod and I'll attach it into this fish and we'll attach it to the driftwood. Then we kind of want to take our fish and figure out where we want to attach it to our driftwood, how we want it posed on here. I'm going to come off of the one branch here so I kind of know about where I want it, and I'm going to put it on the front. I'm just going to take a little marker and mark that. Once we kind of have it marked there, I'm just going to kind of take my scalpel and I'm going to cut a little hole around the skin. It just makes it a little bit easier to carve out the foam without catching the skin. And I probably shouldn't have attached my fin yet, but usually I'll just kind of take a drill bit and I'll carve a hollow spot here. You want your rod to be in about 6 inches just along the body, just to give you a little bit of extra support. I'll carve it out here as best I can. And once we have our rod kind of in the way we want, we just want to mark where we need to have our bend at, and then we can pull it out and bend a little bit of an L into it. We'll just kind of have to match our piece of driftwood up and see what angle we do need in the end, but we kind of know where to bend it right now. Bend in pretty much. We'll line it up here on our driftwood and we'll kind of figure out where we need to cut this off at. And we'll just cut it so it's just a little bit inside the piece of wood that we're working with. We'll just take our sawzall here, we'll cut this wire, and that'll give us our wire attachment for the driftwood. Once we have that wire cut, I'm going to take a socket on a drill attachment, and I'm going to take a die tap set. I'm going to take the end here and I'm just going to end up threading the rod so that we can put a lock nut on it, and then we will have our attachment point. We're just going to probably put the thread probably about 1 inch on it just to give us a little bit of a place to attach it. We don't want to go too little where we end up running out of threads when we're trying to attach it to the driftwood here. Once we have that rod threaded up, it's not a bad idea to bend a little loop in the wire that's going into the fish. But what we want to do, we want to kind of make sure that our angle of this rod is pretty close to where we want it. We don't really want to do too much bending once it's already set. But we're going to kind of mark it. We're going to build a little bit of a dam, and then we're going to end up filling it up here. To fill it in, I like to use the Smooth Cast 300. It's a 50/50 liquid plastic. It'll go in, it'll fill all that void up, and that'll give us a pretty solid attachment for our fish here. It's a pretty quick set time, so you don't want to dilly-dally too long, because it'll set up in just a couple minutes. So you want to mix it really quick. Make sure it's mixed good, 50/50. Shake the bottles, and then we'll fill our hole in with that. And you just want to be careful when you're pouring it. You don't want to accidentally let it go over your fish, because it will mess up your paint job, and then you'll have to touch it up. Once the smooth cast is set up, we're ready to attach it to the driftwood, and all we're really going to be doing here is just putting a lock nut on it and tightening it down, and it'll give us pretty much the hold. It's a nice easy attachment method. It works really well for smaller fish. This fish is starting to get to the point where it's a little big for this. The bigger method, you need a little different attachment method. This will just, if you go too big, it just ends up rocking a little bit and it's not as firm of attachment point. But fish under 20 inches, this works great. And just a nice quick attachment method. It puts you on a single point so you can work your angle a little bit different on the driftwood.